But mostly what we want to do is get you involved. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts were of the evening and what your thoughts are about this issue of clean air in this place we call home, Louisville. So let's start. Just introduce yourself, please.
My name is Veronica Combs. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for the Institute for Healthy Air, Water, and Soil.
My name is Carolyn Embry. I'm Director of Development for the American Lung Association in Kentucky. And I was one of the 7 board members who cast the aye vote for the Stone. And I'm Colleen Crum. I'm the co-chair of the Green Economy Action Team, which is one of the 5 action teams in the Louisville Sustainability Council. I'm a member, a lifelong member, till a 41-year member of Shively, president of Shively. And my family's had 4-generation business on 22nd and Main Street. Well, previously it was on 15th and Bank, so very near and dear.
Excellent, excellent. And we have some other important people here. All of you are important people. There were some people who were highlighted in tonight's performance. And so if you dare, would you identify yourself if you saw yourself in the play tonight? We had a few. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, you know, what's interesting is these are the people who are living and breathing what we just saw. But in many ways, I think this is a bigger issue than just one area. And so I was identifying myself. The funny part was sometimes it was male, sometimes it was female, sometimes it was young, sometimes it was old. But I think we're all in this this issue. So I'd like to start with maybe Veronica, just some idea about what your perspectives are, what you experienced tonight, what your thoughts were about this play.
Well, I'm still a little perplexed from the whole thing. It was a wonderful story, and I'm so glad that the Little Theater Company had told it. And it doesn't get told very often, all the hard work and the meetings and the anger and the caring. And so it's an amazing story. I feel very privileged to be here talking about it.
Okay. Carolyn?
Well, it was an amazing story and a very poignant chronicling of the struggles of the Robertown community to exact environmental justice and to raise the consciousness of the public about how their health was being impacted by pollution in their area. Yes, it is a community-wide problem, but the people in the Robertown area were definitely disproportionately affected. And it just shows what can happen, what good can come when people work collectively to bring about change, when there's something that they care passionately about, and when they continue to persevere as they did.
Excellent. Colleen?
The Sustainability Council teaches about a concept called collective impact, and it's changing the way that people who are affected by things like this can impact their environment. It is the idea that diverse social change can happen through diverse organizations. And so I am very excited about what I've seen in the play today, especially kind of where the rubber meets the road, if you will, if you forgive the pun, because they got the votes because they work together, not just with industry, but with university and everything. So I think that exists, and I'm very encouraged by the play because it looks like that is the right path to go, and that the path that our group is very interested in promoting. So,
And it's such a complex issue, jobs, but health, but our community, but why don't you move? And it's a really hard issue. Air quality is really complicated, and I thought it really pulled together how difficult the problem is.
Excellent. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here. This is very much about environmental and social justice. And I'd like to hear from your perspectives what your organizations, how you have come into that arena and what you're doing in that arena today. Please.
I'd like to say the American Lung Association has been involved for decades in the clean air issue. I spent most of today looking through my press clippings from back, during the time that the STAR program was being developed, and brought out, lots of action alerts that we had sent out, both email alerts, postcard alerts, op-ed pieces we had written, forums that we had sponsored, and this is something that is a priority for the American Lung Association, obviously, because of its impact on lung health. So this is a banner that we carry proudly and will continue to do so in the future.
Well, the Institute focuses on life cycles, life systems, air, water, and soil all work together, and we're trying to also show how all parts of our life contribute to a healthy person. If you have a horrible job, you might not have good mental health. If you don't have good finances, that's a stressor also. So we're trying to get every part of the community to see how their work contributes to overall health. If we don't have health, we don't have much. And one of our projects is focused on asthma. We really are trying to get data to people, information to people. We don't want to tell them what to do with it, but we want to dig it out of the government websites and make it easier to get information out to people, because people need to know how their own health is being affected, how the health of their community is being affected, so they can work together with nonprofits and collective action groups and representatives to change things for better.
One of the my perspectives from this was that Bernheim is sitting, 20 minutes south of town. Beautiful, forest. What appears to be very clean air. What appears to be this pristine place. And for many years, we kind of viewed ourselves as an island. And if people swam to that island, well, good for them. They made it. They could relax. They could enjoy nature. They could be connected. But lately, we've realized that that only does so much good, and that our mission is connecting people with nature. And now, we're as busy, not only at Bernheim, but throughout the region and through all ends of the community, engaging people where they live. That's a good feeling. That's a nice feeling. Yes,
I
please.
think the play pointed out very well that our air has gotten cleaner over the years. And I think that's important for people to know that we have made progress, but it's still unhealthy. And so there's more work to be done. And the American Lung Association believes strongly that everyone has a right to breathe air that's clean and healthful, and conversely, that no one should have to breathe air that harms their health. We also believe that you can't build a healthy economy on a sick environment. So, we have to work together as a community to solve these problems, and we're certainly committed to working with all the stakeholders to continue to clean up our air and to have a safe living environment for everyone here in the community.
Part of the Institute's work is sort of quantifying the cost of polluted air. We're gathering information about asthma attacks from individuals, and then we're going to compare the incidence of asthma attacks to the incidence of bad air days. So if we can say, on really bad air days, there's more ER visits, there's more hospitalizations, we can sort of begin to link the price of bad air and healthcare costs, or the cost to employers who have people at home from work because they're sick or their child is sick. So we're trying to sort of make it more real and more concrete, not just the right thing to do, but it's an economic issue, it's a competitive issue for the city. If we want to have a good place to live and attract companies, we have to have a healthy environment.
And Veronica, to your point about data, so this last week, the Sustainability Council had our biennial summits, and one of the action teams, one of the people that we're very involved with is actually LG&E. And last month they invited us in, hosted a meeting where they talked about the Cane Run Natural Combined Gas Cycle Plant. They talked about the solar plant they're doing about an hour and 20 minutes, sort of south of Lexington near Nicholasville in Mercer County. And they explained to us a lot of the work that they're trying to do to try to engage with us. And because, David Huff from LG&E has been in our meetings for 8 months, he met with us today with the company in Shoffley, and we sat down and had all the people there, and he looked at their bills, and is this the right demand, concert, on-demand energy rate that we're paying, or should we put solar? Is it going to be a good deal? And it's a complicated question, but because this forum has existed for businesses and regular Joe Schmoes like myself to kind of, I don't know, maybe use my skills to bring these people together, it happened, and it will, I'm certain it will change some policy in the future because this kind of open conversation is happening. But David's point at the summit, which kind of ties back to what you all are both saying, is that if you don't have correct data, you can't really make a decision, you can't put money behind that decision, and you can't make a change. So the more websites that we have that compare health to economic viability and communities' health is going to be the way out.
I would like to throw a question open to everybody, and our panelists, is what can we do as organizations, as individuals, as a community to build understanding, awareness, and quicken solutions on these issues surrounding air pollution, water pollution, and overall environmental health? Anyone want to jump into that one? I'm only asking you to solve it. You had your hand up, or was that a nice stretch?
My name is Donald Taylor, and I'm actually a Chickasaw neighborhood resident, and I actually serve as the president of the Chickasaw Neighborhood Association. And so I was very glad to be present here today at this place. I was quite unaware of the place, so this is kind of great. I would say what we need is just greater collaboration between neighborhood groups. I would say it's very exciting to see many of the groups react and Westchester County Community Task Force. I'm somewhat involved in it, and I say a lot of the work that I guess can be achieved greater is through collaborative effort. I would just take from neighborhood groups, not outside of West Oakland, but as a whole, definitely dealing with the environment because it affects us all. And I say definitely for Chickasaw, we've been reaching out. Definitely, persons in groups out in employees, parts and issues they're dealing with out there, and we look at because once you enjoy it for students and Bernheim, I think it's very essential that we begin to work outside of our neighborhoods. Because we want to be able to get to all of the greatness within the city of Thurston County.
Excellent, excellent. Anyone else? Yes.
I think that this needs to be exposed to a larger section of our community. The name Prevailing Winds, I didn't get the connection. And that's a wonderful title. And everybody needs to know that, yes, we're all affected. Yes, the West End thing, the West End area is directly affected, but prevailing wind, it harms us all. So this play needs to go more widespread. We need bigger audiences, because I love the way that all sides were told. You spoke to all sides of it, and that needs to be expressed, and other people need to do it.
There's a lot of nuance in these questions, aren't there? A lot of nuance. Yes. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm one of the actors in the play, but I'm also the children's librarian at the Shiloh branch of the library. And so this is my neighborhood. And what I found in preparing for the play and learning new words and all of the various perspectives and facts, I found myself saying them to people. Talking about the West Dickinson County Community Task Force, and being able to talk about the importance of gardens, or trying to find ways to integrate this information into the programming that we offer at our Rangeville Library. One of the things that I found when I first moved and started working there, and it's been about a year, is that all of the paperwork about the various lawsuits and health arrangements and impacts and all those things are stored at the Shiloh branch of the library. And so finding a way to not only be in this play and so people come to the play, but to find ways to integrate elements that are in the play, to put them in the community, in the people's hands, but in the children's hands, in the family's hands, so that it doesn't just live on this stage or live in a book of history, but it's a living thing that's ongoing.
And I'm
Any other comments? Yes.
Tom Herman, I'm one of the bad guys, the industry people.
You're one of the industry people.
Yes. I'd like to offer a positive suggestion that I thought the play was excellent. And I think it lays a great template out there for the whole nation, the whole world to think about in dealing with our greatest problem we all are going to face, and that is climate change. If you don't believe it, 10 years from now, it's going to be too late to act if we don't get our butts in gear. So it's a good lesson.
I wonder if there's any possibility this could be filmed so that it could be shown on KET. I would love to have it available that way.
It's something we can certainly pursue.
That would provide a bigger audience.
I do have like one statement to share regarding environmental justice, and definitely particularly dealing with West Louisville, because oftentimes you hear that the industry was there before the people came. And I think what we oftentimes forget of certain communities that were existing before Rivertown industry came. You have the Rivertown Colony Ward, which later became known as Little Africa, which was there before those St. Joseph's, a little African American community that started right after the Civil War. So we oftentimes would say that the industry was there before the people came. It was mainly just farmland, but not in all actuality. You had certainly within Little Africa that community has been long there since the Civil War. And so we want to keep that in perspective, that people were there before the district came. And when you look at environmental justice, it's why the Rivertown located where it was located is because it was so near Little Africa. That's maybe a concern for people to look back on.
And before that, where the Morris Foreman plant was built, was a Native American burial ground.
I think her suggestion about making a video more widely available to KET is perfect, but I would add some of the actual figures from our story and some of these types of people, so people have awareness of where to go to connect and find further resources. You know, to include this and broaden it and flesh it out a bit. Deeper ahead, yeah.
Our website has some connections out, and if I may make one plug for increased awareness, LouisvilleAirMap.com is it's a map of all of the EPA air monitors in the county, so you can click on one and see what the air quality is in your neighborhood, because sometimes it's very different in one part of the neighborhood than in one part of the county than the next. So it's LouisvilleAirMap.com. There's lots of other health information there. Ted Smith is basically the architect of that website, and Christy Brown is the other co-founder of the Institute, so it's their resources and ideas that help build that. But it's updated, it's real-time data, so you can know, and you can also sign up for alerts, so if it is a bad air day, you'll know to watch out for the people around you, maybe have breathing problems. Would you tell us about that? It's LouisvilleAirMap.com. Okay.
All right, one last question since it's getting late. And yes, ma'am.
I'm Christy that Veronica mentioned, but I just want to say I think it is a magnificent gift that you've given to this community. And so I really want to thank all of you. I can only imagine the hard work that it took to do the interviews, not to mention the rehearsals. And I want to thank all of the people who for all these years have been doing this extraordinary work. And I think what it says to me is how glorious really people are and how glorious this community is. And the opportunity is that what we have in common is our love of each other. And really, what we really have in common is, in fact, air. It's the one thing that we can say to anybody in the world, your air is my air is your air. And I find that it really unites me to whomever I'm with if I think that way. And so if we can figure out together with all this imagination and creativity how to take that love and turn it into a positive movement based on the horrific, horrible facts of what the opposite of love does. And, you know, destruction versus love. And I think that we could really create Louisville as the laboratory that, in fact,
have fun. But I know we're probably going to end the evening with a round of applause. And my name's Shannon. I'm one of the co-founders of Looking for Lilith Theater, and together with Trina Fisher, we were the devising directors on the piece. And there are a lot of people in the room tonight who gave us their stories so that we could create this play. And we're only representing, we're only being a vehicle for those words, for your words to come through us. So I would love us to have a round of applause for everyone who so generously shared their stories.
One last item, and that is that I'd like to ask for you all to think about what one action are you going to take home and deliver because of what you saw here tonight. And I'm going to ask our panelists to answer that. And then I'm going to ask about 5 or so people from the audience if you want to volunteer to answer. We'll just take about 5 of them. But everybody needs to have an action right here and right here that you're going to take home and deliver because of tonight. All right, who's going first? There we go, Pauline.
To feed off what you said from Chickasaw, what was your first name? What was your name? Donovan. Donovan said collaboration. So our action team has been kicking around the idea for 2016 to make West Louisville Connectivity one of our collective impact projects for the year. We've already started talking with the Center for Neighborhoods about it, and it would be a daunting task. And so we would very much like to be able to present it to the boards as maybe, I don't know, like an official project. So we're kind of kicking it around. I'm going to try to do a little research on the different groups that are involved in it. But that would definitely be a takeaway. To be able to help, because there's so many, the Bingham Fellows group, there's so many different groups that have done research and already know what the problems are. So you don't want to go and tell someone what their problems are. You want to have them tell you what they want. So we'll see about that.
Very good. Yes, Ron. Oh, please. Oh, sorry.
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways from the play is the power of community activists to make a change in the community when they have that resolve. And I would just encourage people who are concerned about our air quality to educate themselves about it. It isn't just what comes out of Rubbertown smokestacks. And I think the play well pointed out that it's also what comes out of automobile exhausts. There's another whole source of pollutants called area sources. There are things that you don't even think about, like dry cleaners and gas stations and spray paint booths. So, learning about the sources and then attending air pollution control board meetings. That's a wonderful way to learn about what's going on in the community and to find out what more can be done. Because, it's all well and good to try and mitigate it through various green actions and activities, but that doesn't take the place of slowing it and controlling it at the source. And so, the more you can learn about that and become involved in what the Air Pollution Control District is doing and speaking out at public hearings like so many of the community activists did during the development of the STAR program. I would just encourage people to try and get involved in that way.
Great. And Veronica.
Well, first I'm going to write a blog post about how everyone needs to come see the play before it goes. And just knowing how much work has gone before and how many people care, I think will just inform the Institute planning for next year to figure out our priorities, and it's great to be part of a larger effort and a small part of carrying the work.
Outstanding, outstanding. Now, a few people from the, yes.
Hi, I'm Karina Fisher again. And I had gone to just the evening before the Louisville Sustainability Council Summit started, and I was really excited about that. And I think that that's one thing I'll do is try in my busy life to get involved in the Louisville Sustainability Council. And I also wanted to say that when you were saying stuff about love, it made me think, I can't remember where I heard it, that the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. So it's that just being like, well, you know, I'm not going to get involved and it doesn't matter to me. So remembering that just being indifferent and not getting involved is worse than, in some ways, than actively fighting against something, because then we have something to push back against at least.
Anyone else have an action they want to share? Yes.
Me. Hi, I'm Jill Sherbaum.
One of the writers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and set designer, but I won't.
Yes, set
shamelessly
designer.
plug. I think a lot of it had to do with like re-educating myself. Like I'm educated. I went to college. I lived on Bramers Lane off Campground Road for 13 years, and I didn't know the extent of how harmful and how much good both sides can come from. Like the industry, I didn't know that like we're the only place in the country that if we didn't the company didn't exist, we couldn't go to space, or we couldn't drive the cars, or that there was all a part of like the scene where it's in every part of our lives. And I think just educating the community and not just the people who are involved is what I'm going to take away, because I think I have friends who live in Lake Dreamland, and I'm telling them about it, and they're like, oh, okay. But they're not understanding like how it is really affecting them, and they've lived there for most of, or if not all of their lives.
Excellent. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm Kathy Little. I just wanted to thank you for this play to bring so many different communities into a play that is so cohesive. I really appreciate the fact that it was so, I mean, it tore me up. So, it was really, really fun to watch.
Okay, one more, yes.
Okay, she's not going to tell you that she's, this little girl here was the girl with the teddy bear. And it's all about grassroots involvement. If you saw this play, it started out with somebody on the street that their neighbors are sick and people are dying. And I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to do something. And that's the difference between being a volunteer and being an activist. An activist does something. A volunteer just says, okay, what can I do? How can I help? But you've got to get out there and not give up. And just because people say you can't fight City Hall, I'm not trying to fight City Hall, or you can't fight big industry, you can. If you know your science and you know what you're talking about, and you keep knocking on the door of the unjust judge and the little woman in the Bible, and finally the judge says, what do you want? I'll give it to you. That can happen. And it starts with us. Everybody in this room, there's no color to this. This is an us situation, and it's killing us. And climate change in particular, but this is all part of it. Nobody knows what coal ash is, but it's got 13 different carcinogens in it. Right now, it's just fugitive dust according to the EPA, and that's the only way you can really go against it, is it's blowing on your properties, and it is every day. But you got to start with you, and you've got to mean it. You've got to mean it in your heart, and it's got to be, you know, we can all do it together. And that's, you know, when Thomas Pierce came to our door, knocked on our door, we had no idea what this stuff was piled up across the street from our house. We had no idea. But it seeps into the aquifers, seeping into the rivers, into the Ohio River, and, you know, we're doing something about it. But it takes, I hate to use this, it takes a village, but it takes everybody to fight this stuff.
All right, with that, take home